Now, how many of you have a PIG in your life? Now, it could be a particularly irritating guy or gal. It could be a pompous, inane gas bag. It could be a pesky, incessant griper. It could be just a pain in general. Or it could be a pretty influential guy or gal, somebody that you just struggle to connect with. How many of you have somebody like that in your life? Yeah, well, you know, the good news is these people make us stronger. These people help us to develop our personal leadership skills because we have to learn how to become more influential with them. They help us to discover the power we have inside ourselves to turn around just about any relationship or to create a great relationship right from the get-go.
See, someone once said that our success or failure in this life depended not so much on knowledge or skill, because those are things we can get, if first we have the desire to understand and to manage ourselves. So today, we're talking about how to manage you. How to manage you in such a way that you can connect, communicate, and cultivate those relationships that you most want, that would be most important for your ability to be influential on this earth.
For 3 years, I served on the same board of directors with this fellow, and for 3 years, I put up with what I called his fanatical attention to detail, his argumentative disposition, his opposition to just about everything I suggested, until finally the time came I said, okay, that's it. Milton's got to change. Now, how many of you here have ever attempted to change someone else? May I see your hands? Tell me, did it work? No, it didn't work, right? So here's the epiphany. If somebody else is our PIG, chances are great we're theirs. Now, I want you to look at your neighbor and I want you to say, hey, you just might be somebody else's PIG. Well, at the end of our time together, they had to fill out evaluations and sign them as proof that they had actually heard the lady speaker speak. And when the last one was out the door and dropped the evaluation into the box, the door was closed. I started packing up my things to go home. Well, there was a teacher who'd come and sat in on the group, and I didn't realize she was a teacher because she was young enough. But she stayed behind afterwards, and she's rifling through all the materials and all the evaluations, and she pulls out this evaluation. And she looks up at me, and she said, hey, I just found Jason's evaluation. Listen to what he wrote. He wrote, funny little lady. This program ought to be mandatory for every kid in school. You know, I don't know what you just did to that kid in the last hour and a half, but you just got more out of that kid in the last hour and a half than I've been able to get out of him in the last 3 years. But hey, trust me when I tell you, that kid is nothing but trouble. Well, you know, I believe he could have been nothing but trouble. In fact, I believe all those kids could have been nothing but trouble. But you know, that day I persistently and consistently chose to see them as nothing less than exceptional, and they exceeded my expectations. The limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, is an open-loop system. So we depend on our connections with other people for our own emotional stability. So how we feel about somebody when we're in their presence has an impact on their emotional stability.
Would you agree that when you are gone from this earth in another 110 years, would you agree that no one will ever be able to fill your exact space again? You would. Would you agree that no one will ever be able to walk in your footsteps exactly as you walked and where you walked ever again? Would you agree with that? Would you also agree that no one will ever be able to think your exact thoughts ever again? Would you agree that no one will ever be able to breathe your breath ever again? Will they see through your eyes again? No. Will they hear through your ears? No. Will anyone ever be able to know the depth of the pain that you have experienced in your life? Because you have experienced some pain, haven't you? Will they ever be able to know the height of the joy that you've experienced in your life? No. See, even if you were an identical twin, you'd have had different fingerprints. You would have had a different in-womb experience, wouldn't you? See, you're irreplaceable. You're unduplicatable. You are unreplicatable. You're one of a kind. You're truly the meaning of the word unique. Now, when you think about it that way, isn't it kind of easy to see anybody as exceptional?
And a friend of mine gave me my first romance novel. I think it was called The Flower and the Flame. And then The Hawk and the Dove. And I was reading that book one day, and then my husband came home, and I looked at him. He did not look like Fabio. He did not speak to me like Fabio spoke to his woman. And he certainly didn't ravish me like Fabio ravished Rebecca. I mean, I either had to get rid of the novels or get rid of my husband. The novels had to go. We have to become inspiration junkies. Why? As the book of Proverbs says, that from out of our heart, our mouth speaks. And what we speak tells the tale of what we've been feeding on.
I guarantee you will say, if you do not already, yes, I can teach a pig to sing, because you see, I am the P-I-G. I am a person igniting greatness.